I am DYANAROZAY, and I bring a unique commentary to your favorite reality TV shows and whatever is popping on social media. If you are not a subscriber, please become one. Hit that notification bell too, that way you don't miss any of my videos. I go by DYANAROZAY on all platforms, and I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. What's up, folks? Welcome to the channel. It's your girl DYANAROZAY, child, and I am here to bring you guys Belle Collective Season 1, Episode 4. So welcome to the chat, okay? If you will, let me see. We have Miss Tweety Bird. She said, school starts back tomorrow. You can finally catch a live. Welcome, Miss Tweety Bird. Nice to have you, girl. Y'all, this was a complete and total mess. The end of this episode felt like a little, who's the alpha? Whose show is this? Because Kendra has a lot of folks, right? Not Kendra, my bad. Tiffany. Tiffany has a lot of people on this show. Like, she knows a lot of people, right? And I'm just getting the impression that they clearly don't like each other. But come on in, you guys. We are here to talk about it. We're here to talk about that. We're also here to talk about, y'all know how I said last week that is it Sonetta? I said Sonetta is an interesting person because she is in the middle of everybody's business. Anytime people are talking about Tiffany, she is standing right there and nobody bridles their tongue. Not one person. Everybody says whatever they want to say in front of that girl, like she's not going to take it back. And for sure, she took it back, not in a bad way. But Stormy's like, baby, I got to know what she said before I admit to being offended by anything. That was the last part. So I asked you guys in the poll question, please take it up above. I said, are you on Tiffany's side? Who's like, listen, girl, I heard you was offended. Tell me what you were offended about. Knowing damn well she knows what it was about. They literally said it. But she was like, tell me what you're offended about before I say anything. And Stormy's like, I didn't even talk to Sonetta. So yeah, you ain't trapping me with that bullshit. Okay, don't try to give me some, this is what she said without telling me what she said first. You know what I'm saying? So that's where they are at the bottom. But I want to know how y'all feel about that. Take the poll, because clearly it's a little more than just the words, right? I'm getting the impression this is about who's the queen bee, who's the top dog, who's bringing the most to the table. Okay, who's the one with the story? And at the end of the day, Kayla's the one who's bringing the majority of the story, in my opinion. But come on, y'all, come on in. I do want to say hello to my sister. We got the same mama, same daddy. I don't care if you don't like it. I do. Welcome, Clone, to the chat. She is a moderator volunteering her time. So thank you, girl. I got my big cuz over here, Miss Tyrese. Welcome. I also have Belicious. She said, listen, I just caught the first couple of minutes, then I came here. Well, I'm going to catch you all the way up, Miss Belicious. So thank you. What's up, Glaze? Nice to have you. All right. So listen, let's get to it. So it picked up right where it left off. The 48-hour live stream is just beginning, okay? What is up? Nice to have you, girl. The 48-hour live is just beginning, and there's already problems. The sound isn't working. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they said there was well over, maybe it was 4,800. Maybe I was just being a little overzealous with the number of people that was on the live. Maybe it was 4,800 people on the live, and within the first 10 minutes, 2,400 people, damn near half, it is half, bought the La boxes, but they didn't know what the fuck they were buying. That's the problem. So they get the sound corrected, but now Stormy's looking at the pen and she's like, this is supposed to be the box. We're starting with the gift box, not with the trio. The gift box has 5 items in it, okay? There's a perfume, there's a glaze, there's lotion, there's whatever it is. The trio is only 3 products. And it literally says I guess people believe they're buying the gift box, but it says price slash 175. Okay, from a $300 price tag. So people believe in their brain that they're buying the box. This is important because the CFO is the one who takes the blame for the BS. Come on in. Welcome, you guys. Nice to have y'all. Thank you for coming through. But yeah, so the CFO is sitting there and Stormy is fuming. This is a huge mistake to make at the beginning of the live. We are supposed to start with the boxes, the gift box. She actually called it a book, which a lot of people call the gift box's book. I don't care where you are or who it's being sold by. People always say book, but the CFO says, I never heard of it referred to as a book. So that's my mistake. And so Stormy is looking at her like, but bitch, even if you've never heard of the word book, you know the difference between a trio and 5, correct? You know, trio means 3 and a 5-set box means there's 5 items in it. And we've been talking about this for whatever. And I also want to say this. If I'm not mistaken, I would have to go back and watch. But in the first episode, Stormy referred to that damn box as a book. She opens it. She says the binders is messed up. The paper's peeling, all of that, right? And that was the prototype. So she's telling her what it is. Anyway, she said, I didn't know what the difference is. And she said, I don't even care if you don't know, if you've never heard of the word book. You've never heard of me refer to it as a book. When it clearly says in the description, that's never changed. 3 versus 5, okay? Whatever it was, the La La set versus the La La Love, whatever it was supposed to be, okay? So I'm like, I'm at home at this point rubbing my head like, bitch. I would be so mad, like heads are gonna roll because you can't tell me that you didn't know what that was, because if you didn't, you would have asked me. If somebody, if you are down at the wire, if it's the day before and people are punching in numbers and making sure that those sets and stuff pull up the right way, if you don't know I've never heard of the word box. I've never heard y'all refer to it as a book before. You would ask me. You would ask me. You would not make that mistake. So I want to say, Amber, oh my God, girl. Did you just start working there yesterday? When did this happen? Do you think she did it on purpose? I can't say that I think she did it on purpose, but I can say that if this was anybody else's job, they probably would have gotten fired for that, or at least like a strong talking to, and maybe your raise or if you get bonuses, all that shit would be affected, because that's a serious mistake for her to say, don't blame anybody else, it was all me. And then actually say out loud, I didn't know you called that a book. And Stormy is sitting there like, you can tell she wants to cuss, she wants to spit, she wants to say, bitch, I thought Tiffany was a problem. You get out of this damn live right now. Don't touch shit else. Okay? That's what most people would do. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a huge mistake. So people who were buying the trio thought that they were buying the $300 gift box. And that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. So if you know what I'm saying, she said, this is a customer service error. At the end of the day, the shit falls back on me. And she wants to make it right. And this is within the first 10 minutes. This is how quick people wanted to buy up, right? All of Lala's friends, all of her family, I'm sure, was promoting it. So you don't know who. You don't know who feels like they got ditched or you know, played a fool on. Damn it, you taking my $175. I want the box. I want the gift box with the 5-piece set. Anyway, she's pissed. She's pissed. She talks about how the warehouse is going to be confused. 2,400 orders came in, and now that shit goes to the warehouse, and now they got to figure out which person gets the box, which person doesn't, right? She was like, it's a complete and total disaster. First 10 minutes of the live. That's all we know. Anyway, she ends up grabbing the microphone, running out to where Lala is, because Lala started the live off. And she tells everybody on the live, listen, if you are part of the first 1,000 people, I'm going to give you an additional $50 worth of free gifts. Out of my stash, I'm gonna give you $50 worth of free gifts in order to, take some of the sting off the fact that you didn't buy what you thought you were buying. But anybody who bought that first group, it was not the box, it was a trio. We're still going to sell the box later on in the show. So hopefully you have a little more money to pay out. Anyway, Amber looks like she wants to curl under a table. If y'all were watching her, when the camera pans back at her, she's humiliated. And anybody would be. She's humiliated. She's just kind of sitting there looking defeated. It was awful. It was awful. Then Martell shows up, y'all. He greets everybody. This was really like a nothing scene. Him and Lala do their thing. She's rubbing on his hands and shit and asking him questions about, would you buy this for your woman? It's like, yeah, this is good for a this is good for a date night. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if Martell really liked the smell of it because, he wasn't gushing. He wasn't doing what I think Lala wanted him to. Lala was expecting him to be like, this smells so good. I would love my woman to have this. I think he did buy a gift box. I did see that on some of the videos that were coming out. He did buy one or two. I think he said he was going to give it to his mama. Okay. But while Lala and Martell were on that live, she sold out of the gift boxes. She sold out of the damn books while Martell was on the live. So for everybody who was like, why the fuck would you bring Martell on? That would be why. Not only did she sell out with Martell sitting beside her, but she made over $1 million in the live. That's bizarre. That's crazy. What are y'all doing out there? What are y'all doing? So anyway, after all of that, there's a scene where Martell gets to sit with the rest of the Belles. And Fumi said, child, I've met you before at some magazine event. And the two of them start chit-chatting. Anyway, Fumi's trying to give dating advice. I thought Martell started the bullshit with the dating advice. It's the women asking Martell about advice. So Martell, Fumi's sitting here telling the people on the live. She said, ladies, if that man isn't your husband, don't you go buying him a gift for anything. I don't give a damn if it's his birthday. And then after y'all get married, make sure you don't spend more than $20. Okay. What did y'all say? Dollars. Yes, dollars, child. She said, make sure you don't spend more than $20. And this kind of get Martell in an uproar, but we know that's all he gets. Nothing about Martell in his current situation suggests that he's getting like, $500 gifts or $100 gifts even. Go on ahead and take that $20 pair of socks and keep it punching. Anyway, while all that's going on, Jason shows up, y'all. Jason pops up to the live. I don't remember if maybe I'm sure she did ask. Kayla must have asked Stormy if it was okay for Jason to come because, it's the weekend and that's time with her man. So if I'm going to come support you at this event, Jason's definitely coming. Now we know that Stormy sent a Sprinter van to pick up the Belles from Birmingham and bring them down to Huntsville. But Jason flies in from Dallas, and I guess he just took his car on down to the Huntsville, and he came in like he owned them. Okay. And as soon as I call her, Kayla. As soon as Kayla, let me put the names up here so I can make sure I don't make no mistakes. As soon as Kayla sees him, she melts. Like that girl is in love, okay? She had Fumi over there like smiling and catching all that secondary energy. She was just like, oh my God, I bet you they get it on, okay? But yeah, that's what chemistry looks like. As soon as she saw him, that girl melted in his arms. Like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here. Anyway, Fumi loves her some Jason, just so you know. She said, I have nothing bad to say about him. I love everything about him and what he's doing for Kayla. She said, that girl lights up when he is in the room. She also told Kayla, listen, my $20 gift rule, go on ahead and up it, okay? When it comes to Jason, you put $40 on that mother. You make sure you spend a good $40 on him, okay? Other than that, everybody else 20, that's it. Anyway, that was pretty funny. What else was going on at this live? I'm going to combine a couple of scenes into this live just to, speed things up. But Kylan is Amber's niece. She's the one at the very bottom. Let me take this off so y'all can see her face. Real pretty girl, okay? Anyway, she's up there doing that upgrade dance that Beyonce did. If you've ever seen the upgrade video, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Beyonce's the best. I love the upgrade song. And she ends up coming in and she's doing her dance. She said she was going to do her outfit changes and whatnot. So she's full of energy. And Kayla is full of life now that Jason is sitting beside her. So Kayla's making jokes and shit. She's a little off color. But she said, yeah, what is that girl on? She got so much energy, and basically implies that she must be on drugs. Doing something, okay? The snow, the needle, the whatever. She doesn't know. She just said, baby, she ain't slowing down. Whatever speed you up, she's on it. Because she's been out here popping and bopping the entire live for however many hours they've been on. Anyway, it was a hot mess. And listen, they were all hopping and bopping at some point, because Stormy said they were supposed to do 48 hours and they ended up doing 52, a whole 4 extra hours. That's how hyped the live was. Stormy said, baby, we thought that Lala was successful doing her $1 million in the 48-hour live. Stormy said for the week, she did over 3 million in sales. 3 million in sales. That is wild. Anyway, at the end of it, Stormy said, listen, I didn't think at all about Tiffany, and I don't feel no way about not inviting her. I have no regrets, okay? This is in another scene that she's having this conversation with one of her team members. But she said she was telling him about how Tiffany said Stormy needs to grab a mop, I guess, to humble Stormy. Go on ahead and grab a mop, girl, and clean this shit up. Anyway, Stormy said that Tiffany will play with her puss before she thinks to play with her next time. And then the team member offered to send Tiffany a Swiffer. He said, I'm on it. I'm gonna ship her a Swiffer to let her know, bitch, you want a mop? Use this. You'll be the mopper from this point forward. Anyway, I didn't know if it was that horrible. Take the poll at the top of the chat. But as we got to the end of the episode, what I realized about Tiffany that I didn't see before is that Tiffany is definitely, she likes to play the alpha. Everybody who's ever owned a dog, you know that somebody got to take dominance. If you put your dog in a group of dogs, somebody got to take dominance. And what Stormy realized is that Tiffany was trying to take dominance. And I didn't see it at first. I did think that the girl was joking until we got to the end of the show. And then I was like, ooh, you could have done this completely differently if you didn't intend it to come out the way that it came out. And we'll talk about it. But y'all keep taking a poll at the top of the chat. And thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me today. Please hit the like button and share this video, okay? All right, let's talk about Amber and Kylan. Amber's at the top. Kylan is her niece, right? So like I said, Kayla had already implied verbally that Kylan must be on something, okay? I don't know anybody with that kind of energy. Got to be smoking something or doing something, a pill, a what, right? Anyway, Kayla ends up posting that exact statement under Kylan's IG post. So she got under that post and she literally says the words, oh, you are so great. You're full of energy. You know, blah, blah, blah. She's trying to boost her up. But then somewhere in the middle, she posted, you must have did a line or two. You must have did a line or two before the live, because bitch, nobody has that kind of energy. And she typed that out with her little fingers and then pushed send, okay, to make sure that it went out to everybody. Anyway, Amber said, me and Kayla just made up, and I thought we were doing good. They show the scene of her and Kayla on the couch, and they hugged it, squashed the beef. But she said, that heifer's a whole bird brain, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. She likes to play innocent, but she's purposely throwing rocks and hiding her hands. You're not going to tell me that that girl is that dumb, okay? You're just not. She should have known better. Kylan said, not to mention, social media is my business. I'm in marketing. She knows what the fuck I do because she's a marketer. That's what she does with those kids. So if I would have posted something under her post saying she did a line or two, how did she think that would affect her damn business? Okay. So she said, I agree. Under no circumstances does she not know the information she was putting out there in the atmosphere with me. I don't appreciate that. And I'm going to get with her. I'm going to let her know exactly what I think, verbally, face to face. This deserves a conversation. You know what? That's true. Now, I have to say, again, sometimes this stuff can look innocent, like, oh, it's just a joke. But when you start putting it in context, we all know that Kayla's business is marketing. We know that she does this with kids, right? So you sticking that under there could definitely, you can't say you didn't know any better. You can't say you didn't know any better. But even though I do like Kayla, I'd like to see a little bit more of what she got going on. But as of right now, Kylan said, baby, I got beef with her. All right. Next scene, we got the Bells. What's up, everyone? Come on in. Okay. Next scene is the Bells, and they are boxing. We got Amber, Kayla, Tiff, and Sanetta. I think it's Sanetta. Anyway, Amber says that she likes to work out and box to prevent her from boxing somebody in the head. Okay. She said, basically, I would rather be in here boxing on this bag instead of on Kayla's behind, because I don't do any of that anymore. I'm saved. I am saved. So they go in, they exercise a little bit. And then after class, the girls all talk about what happened at Stormy's live. Tiffany was a good sport, I want to say, and even asking about it, because Tiffany was, given the boot. But Tiffany was like, so how did it go? How did things go with Martell being there? She acts like she's interested, even though I think deep down inside, she really doesn't give a fuck. But she had a big smile on her face. She was, nodding her head. Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. All the stuff that shows, that she was being a good sport at the very minimum. She was playing along, except for when she got in confessional. They kept that camera on her a little longer than they needed to. So the camera is asking, the production team is asking her questions. And she was like, I don't have a whole lot to say about the live right now. And then she smiled, hoping that they would, take that in as a scene. But then after it was done, the bitch went, she literally went from, I don't have a whole lot to say about that. And the production team left that in. Like, this bitch went from hot to cold in 2 seconds. Got it. But the truth of the matter is, I think anybody would feel that way. Like, don't be asking me questions about this. I'm not going to give it a whole lot of energy. It is what it is. But I don't actually care. The worst I could do in this situation is to talk negative about a situation, to talk negative about it until I get what I need to handle with Stormy. So she did the right thing there, and I'm not even going to fault her for making that face, even though that was my scene stealer, because I was like, that's right, girl. Don't give too much. Don't give too much. We don't need to have all that extra. But while all of this is going on, Amber decides she's also going to address Kayla about what she said at the event, right? She said, listen, girl, you was implying that my niece, Kylan, does drugs? What's up with you? And Kayla said, I didn't know that lady was your niece, which pisses Amber off. Not that lady. Her name is Kylan. Start there. I just told you what her name was. And she was like, well, I didn't know. Girl, I didn't know it was your niece, first off. Second off, it was a joke. I was actually complimenting her on all of her energy, right? And she's like, if you would have read the post, you would have saw, and before she could get words out of her mouth, Amber comes back in and said, no, 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 that's not a joke. And Kayla, for as young as she is, she's still a boss, for real, because don't interrupt me. She said, let me finish before you come in here thinking you're going to tell me what to do, punk me, make me feel less than, whatever these things are. You might have been afraid to say, hey, girl, you didn't speak to me, but I'm not afraid to check your ass when you're giving me too much. And I have to say, again, Kayla is still number one for me because I said, girl, don't walk away from this situation feeling away. Solve it here. And she did. Don't overtalk me like I'm a child. I'm not your child. You asked me a question. Let me finish. And she finished. Girl, it was a joke. That's how I intended it. I even put a bunch of compliments at the beginning. However, when I went back and I saw the post, I did think the shit was in bad taste. So I ended up deleting it without you or your niece, that lady, saying shit to me. Y'all didn't even speak to me about it. I self-corrected in the moment. So be mad, but I apologize for making that post. I'm apologizing to you for how you feel about it, and maybe we can just squash the beef. So that was very grown. Again, youngest one appears to be the youngest one there. Also, the one who is literally in the moment saying, bitch, let's get this resolved right here and now. So I don't know. I'm liking Kayla. I really do. But anyway, Tiff joins in and said, well, girl, you should call Kylan. This is what she says to Kayla. Call Kylan anyway and let her know that you apologize because shit gets real twisted in the group and we just starting out. Okay? I made a phone call to Fumi the other day after everything, even though we had our one-on-one. And after I found out what went down, that there was still some bruised feelings, I did call Fumi and let her know, girl, once again, I apologize. I think things just went real left. I didn't mean for it to sound like that. And then we hear Fumi apologize to her. I didn't realize that your couples event was a big deal for you, and that wasn't the right place to bring my nonsense. Okay? So I accept your apology, vice versa. Business squashed. Cool. Then we have Sonetta. If I'm pronouncing her name wrong, my apologies. I think it's Sonetta. But Sonetta ends up saying to her good friend Tiffany, because she is a friend of the show, not really, cast for real, even though she's been a part of most of the scenes, including Stormy's live. the main cast got excluded, but the friend of the main cast got invited. I would have turned down the invite personally. Like, you know what, girl? If my friend ain't there, I'm not there. But like I said, we got to see what Sonetta's working with because right now, yikes. But Sonetta tells her good friend Tiffany on camera, maybe you should apologize to Stormy for telling her to go get the mop. Because even when I heard you say it, I was like, ooh, girl, that might not be the right thing to say. Well, do you think you could have told her that in private or on a one-on-one or during that phone call? Why wait to this group setting to say it? I don't know. I'm just asking. Anyway, Tiffany said, oh, okay. I didn't realize that would have offended her. I thought we were joking. However, let's just, let me put this out here. I'll definitely give her a call or talk to her about it. However, we need to show each other a little more grace. We are a new group, a new collective, and not everybody knows what offends everybody. So we should give grace and stop assuming that, the first time you're offended by something, it was truly meant to harm, and ask questions and discuss. This is her advice, which is good advice. It's good advice. It's the same shit I said in my review last week. At the end of the day, y'all are all learning each other. Y'all don't know each other. So this is just little personality glitches that people have. And you just, once you know a person, you just be like, that's just such and such, right? You won't take it to heart. But she said we need to give each other grace and stop jumping to conclusions. Good advice, considering how we're about to end this shit. Good advice. But come on in, you guys. Welcome. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button and share the video, okay? Anyway, how did y'all feel about that scene? Nobody's talking. Did y'all even like that scene? Okay, sorry about that. I had to check to see. I have sound on my end because I'm listening to it. So if you guys don't have sound, you can put it in the chat. Let me know. I'm going to move on to the next scene though. Amber and her mama. So Amber and her mama are okay, cool. Amber and her mama are in the car driving, child. Amber went to pick her mama up because she is on her way to get her fertility medication, and then also she wants her doctor to meet her mom, or her mom to meet her doctor, so that she can tell her what's going on with the treatment. Her mom is very old school, very traditional, child. Going ahead and get yourself a good man, have some children. Children's going to take up a large part of your life, if not your whole life, right? I understand you have dreams, goals, ambitions. You want to climb whatever the corporate ladder is, but baby, do you want to have children too? That's what her mom is saying. Time is a damn it ticking. My biological clock then already surpassed the time for you. Okay, so her mom is very old school, even to the point of where she asked her, baby, are you gay? I mean, what's going on? You haven't had a oopsie with any of the men you've been with? What's really happening? Okay, so this is the conversation her mom is having, just in case y'all want to know. Anyway, Amber gets it to the doctor, child, and Amber said, listen, I'm 40 years old. I'm going to put these eggs on ice. I'm not using a sperm donor. I'm hoping that I find myself a man, but I might not get a man until I'm in my 45, until I'm in my 50. But I want to be able to carry my child. So I'm going to put these eggs in the freezer, as many as I can. And then, when I meet the right one, we'll be able to go on ahead and create. That is what I want to do. And I talked to my cousin who also had children later in life. And she said her biggest regret is that she did not do IVF to freeze her eggs. So she said, I'm taking that advice. I have the means. I'm going to do that. All good, right? Either way, Amber's mama does not like it. And she told her that. Do it the natural way. And what's really happening here? Okay, she's old school, all this new technology, this is some BS. Anyway, she's like, how long can they keep them in the damn freezer? Amber said, as long as it takes. Anyway, after all of that, Amber said, listen, I'm going to be on this medication for about a week, and I don't know how I'm going to respond to it. So are you willing? Can you come to the house and take care of me while I am, on this medicine? Help me do my shots and stuff. And her mama said, no, I'm married. I have a husband. Okay. I'm taking my ass right back home. Not to mention, I don't like Birmingham. I don't like this city life. I want to be at home with my man over there in the country, in the woods. Okay. So, for as country as people might think Birmingham actually is, apparently that's just too much city for Amber's mama. She said, I'm not coming back up here. Thank you for the invite, but take my ass back home when we're done with this. Okay. That was funny to me. Anyway, after all of that, Amber said that she is completely stressed out. The IVF is stressing her out. The business is stressing her out. And not to mention the fact that Tiffany and her boss and good friend Stormy are stressing her out. Why are they having these tiffs? She does not like it. So she said she is going to, in order to go through this cycle free, she's going to invite all the girls to the Civil Rights Museum. I want all the Bells to come, and hopefully everybody can squash their beef. That's what she says. Yikes. What's up, Queen T? Welcome to the chat. Now we are in the car driving to the Civil Rights Museum. It's Tiffany and a friend of hers by the name of Kendra. And they're talking about Stormy. Okay. Tiffany tells her good friend Kendra that her other friend Sanita told her that Stormy was offended by the comment she made telling Stormy to mop the floor. Tiffany said, we were laughing. We were joking. Like, how was I supposed to know she was offended? That made no sense to me. Not to mention the fact that I was hosting a party. I was there to serve. And then her friend Kendra said, well, you know, sometimes people don't recognize that you're a person of service. You're there to serve. So now they're putting a whole lot of heat on that. So they didn't recognize it. She said, well, I told Sanita to tell Stormy to call me. Not her call Stormy. She said, tell Stormy to call me. Because if you're offended, I'd like to talk to you about it. I'd like to work it out. But I asked her to call me. And she said, number one, I would like to know if you truly were offended. So call me to tell me if you truly were offended. And then I also like to know specifically, what did I say that you were offended by? Those are the two things she's asking for. You call me, tell me what you were offended by, and then let me know if you really were offended. That's exactly what she says on the show. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, why wouldn't you just call her? Why wouldn't you just call her and say, hey, girl, I hate that I even have to call you over this, because this is something that I was told by another person. But if it's true, I want to nip it in the bud. First of all, I apologize. I don't want X, Y, and Z. I don't want you to think that. But this is what she's telling her good friend Kendra. This is what I told Stormy to do. And as of right now, she hasn't called. So I don't know if it's true or false. Anyway, Kendra says, listen, girl, you need to watch your back when it comes to Stormy. Because from what she knows, a person like that puts success and money ahead of everything else. And they typically don't have any substance. So I don't know, friend. Watch your back when it comes to that one. Woo! Now that's probably like the toughest shit that's been said throughout the entire episode. This episode has been pretty frou-frou, except for Kayla. I'm gonna say Kayla does her big one every episode so far. But telling somebody, listen, bitch, I know you, if I was your friend, Kendra, just saying, if I was your friend and somebody said, well, somebody told me, I would have said, well, why didn't you just call her? Why didn't you just call her? Or why wouldn't you tell Sanita, you know, see if it's okay if I get her phone number? Because I need to talk to her one-on-one. But saying I need somebody to call me so I can make sure you're offended seems pretty dumb, especially since you said Sanita was your best friend. That's your BFF. So you don't think she's lying, do you? I don't know. I don't know. This just felt like a pissing contest. This was definitely an alpha contest. If that bitch is offended, let her call me and tell me she's offended. That's what it was giving. Sorry. I like stuff like this, honestly. I like to see the dynamics when people do stuff like this. But when someone's offended, you call, just like you called Fumi. And you, I mean, you knew Fumi for a day. So the same amount of time you knew Stormy. Anyway, after that, Stormy and Tiff are headed over to the Civil Rights Museum with their plus ones. Okay, Kendra is in tow with Tiffany, and Stormy is with one of her people, and I forgot their name. But when they get there, they realize that none of the Bells, the rest of the Bells, are not in attendance. Okay. Apparently Amber's sick from her IVF meds. Fumi said, I am in New York City for Fashion Week. Kayla said her kids are sick, and they come first. So now it is just Stormy and Tiffany, and they basically bump heads when they show up. Tiffany starts it though. They do this face off. Tiffany starts it, and she said, listen, Sonetta told me that I may have offended you at my couple's party. And then she said, can I ask you, what did I say that offended you? Can I ask you, what did I say that offended you? Keep this in mind. This is her BFF that told her this, told her exactly what it was. But she's making Stormy bow to her. Y'all got to pay attention to some of this stuff. Sometimes people play it off like it's innocent shit, but this isn't innocent, girl. You know exactly what it was. She said, what did I say? And Stormy goes, do you think you said something to offend me? Tiffany said, I don't want to assume anything, okay? I want you to tell me with your mouth, what did I say that, slapped your ears, pop, and offended you? Tell me what I said. Stormy said, no, I don't know what Sunita told you, so you tell me what the fuck she said. Tiffany said, do you want to solve this or no? Do you want to talk or no? And that's basically how it ends, with both of them just going back and forth with each other. But I have to say, again, if you really didn't mean to offend somebody, you would let them know immediately. All I have to do is hear, girl, blah, 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 said you have, and I've been like, I didn't do that shit. So and if I did do it, let me give you a call. At this point, and this is the cliffhanger because it's going to go into next week. At this point, Tiffany and Stormy are trying to see who's going to be the last person standing, because this is an alpha moment. Bitch, which one of us is the top dog? And we'll see. Because in confessional, Tiffany said, I'm not stupid. And she's already been gassed up by Kendra. She said, I'm not stupid, and I'm not going to let Stormy run no fucking game on me. She has no intention of resolving this, so I'm not playing the game. Stormy said, I didn't tell Sunita a fucking thing. That's number one. So if you two were talking about me, then you need to let me know exactly what it is you heard first before I admit to anything, because that's just stupid. I don't know what I'm admitting to. That's a point. Okay. Anyway, even though it played out a little shaky, I'm on Stormy's side. If you tell me that a person I never spoke to said X, Y, and Z, then I want to know how that conversation came about. What exactly was said before I agree that you did offend me, that you said this, that you said that, because I don't know what type of stank was put on that conversation. Let's start there. Furthermore, I do believe that if Tiffany wanted to squash it because she says she doesn't want to resolve it, you already knew she was offended, because at the party she said, don't do that. You tried to hug her. She said, bitch, don't do that. I don't think that's funny. So she had already told you that. So it does make sense, not to mention that was your BFF. So you don't need more confirmation. You just don't. Okay. Anyway, I asked you guys for your opinion. Let's get it. If you are taking the poll in the comment section during the replay, I asked whose side are you on, and 46% of y'all said you were on Tiffany's side. 54% of y'all said you were on Stormy's side. And that is pretty much how it ends. Okay. Anyways, y'all, thank you for coming in and hanging out. I appreciate you. Thank you, Clone, for coming through. Thank you to Belicious, my members, for coming in. I'm gonna rate this episode a good 10. I thought it was a 10. They're still new. They're still getting to, we still got to learn everybody, but it's fairly decent to me. We'll see what happens next, but like I said, it sounds like there's a lot of conversation about what's going on in the business, and I don't think that this is I don't know. I just have to see how people feel about it, because most of the time people tap out. People tap out after a while. What's up, Linda? Nice to have you, girl. All right. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out. Let me put this screen back up. Anyway, hit the like button and share the video, you guys. Make sure you're following me on all platforms at DYANAROZAY. I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. And until the next one, bye-bye.